All right, there goes the stream. Hey, okay, good. Everyone's here. Or not everyone, but we are in fact doing it. For the last little while, I've been freaking out over the stream not working, so this time I decided to just wait and play with my phone for a bit until I was sure it was working. But okay, it's working, we're on. Hey everyone. I put out 2 Shonen Jumps in 2 days, so you probably haven't seen all my previous reactions at this point, but doesn't matter, because it's all about the chapters, baby. Yo, what up? Okay, also, there we are. Now it's working on my phone. That means we are officially live for realsies. Anyways, enough dilly-dallying. This is Chainsaw Man, Chapter 42, Teach Me How to Swim. So, I'm really curious to see where this is going to go. Like, I feel like half of Chainsaw Man is, delving further and further to, Fire Punch levels of horrifying, and the other half is drifting towards We Never Learn at the moment. Like, that's the tightrope of the series. And, I mean, I feel like we're going to have this be half and half. It's going to be half We Never Learn-ish shenanigans of Denji and, oh boy, what is her name? I was just talking about her. Sorry, Damage, I'm going to expose our personal chat for a moment. Reze, that was it. Like, it's going to be half of them goofing around, and then half Whirlpool Man showing up and, punching her in the face. I feel like that's going to be the mix. Reze, yes. What could this be? I mean, I assume it is just they're learning how to swim. Or rather, she's teaching him how to swim. Never mind. No, it's just the hand-holding. Makima, I don't really want to hold her hand, I swear, but my body moves all on its own. That's so unbelievably lewd. Jeez. Like, is that just No, that is sweat. That is legitimately just a bunch of sweat. God. It's so drippy and gross. And his fingernails are... I mean, it's not the worst, but the way they're drawn is so, kind of malformed. I might be looking into it a bit too deeply. This one specifically just weirds me out a bit. Like, there's a weird lip here that shouldn't be there. And it doesn't seem like an art mistake. It seems like that's just how Denji's fingers are. I mean, is this the school arc of Chainsaw Man? This is the most We Never Learn Chainsaw Man's gotten at this point. I mean, to be fair, Denji did, regenerate his entire body when he became, whatever he is right now. When he became Chainsaw Man. So, I remember having a conversation with someone where we concluded that he most likely still has his second ball now. Like, he probably remade the ball. Yeah, I mean, first of all, very real reaction. I have been very hit or miss on what exactly it is that Reze might be. Like, is she the skeleton devil? Is she a just normal human being? Is this all a big old trap? Like, what is going on here? But this is, surprisingly emotional. This is such a normal human being response to someone saying, hey, I've never been to any form of school in my entire life. And yeah, he is still just a kid, but the way he's grown up has shaped him quite a bit. Like, he is this bizarre man-child at this point. Yeah, and I mean, this has actually been a theme of the series ever since the start. Literally ever since the very first chapter when he dreamed about the idea of having bread and putting something on the bread. Like, yeah, that's the bare minimum, especially in Japan itself. Like, we don't know that much about the state of this world specifically, but it seems like Japan is more or less similar to modern day, real world Japan. just with the existence of devils. Apart from that, it seems like the way in which people live and the quality of life to which they are accustomed is very similar. In which case, Denji is very clearly a neglected human being. Okay, want to go cool off? So this is where we go to swim. Like, this is where the swimming gets kicks in. Now, I'm starting to see the appeal. I don't know if I would from this shot. Like, she is very, very thin and underdeveloped, which is not a problem for me usually. Like, in terms of guys, I'm fine with the thin. But I don't know, something about the way she's drawn doesn't seem extremely sexual. Then again, I mean, this has been a long-running thing in this stream of I don't know. I should not be the one to say what is and isn't sexual, so I guess we'll leave it at that. Ooh, what if she gets turned into the Typhoon Fiend? Maybe. Like, the guy who was talking to the Typhoon Devil didn't say anything like, I want to be the Typhoon Fiend. And in fact, that would be bad, because fiends are devils that have taken over a human body. So, yeah, maybe this is going to be a situation where he borrows the Typhoon's power, it doesn't quite work out, and then, as a last resort thing, it enters her body, and we see how, in fact, a fiend is made. Because as far as we know, like, as far as I can tell, we've never seen that before. And, like, oh, they're at a pool, too? And that could bring up a quandary that we've not seen before. Like, the quandary of, like, what happens? Like, are fiends just essentially zombies? Is it that the person inside is now completely dead and the devil has taken over? Or are they maybe, like, a blend of the two, perhaps? Like, what is power? Is power just the blood devil that is now in a body and that makes her the blood fiends? Or is there something more to it? Like, is she at all influenced by the human being that, was power before she was power? Because I could definitely see a situation where she gets taken over by the Typhoon Fiend, and then Typhoon Fiend attempts to fuck Denji, and Denji has this moment of, crap, I really liked her as a person, but now is that person inside anymore? Is this okay? Well, I mean, Denji is not a fiend. That's the thing. The series has specifically pointed out that you've got devils, you've got fiends, and then you've got whatever Denji and the Katana Man are, where it seems that their hearts have been replaced by devil hearts. But they're explicitly not fiends. They are something else. And I think that's the big delineation. Like, if she became, if she gained the heart of the Typhoon Devil, then I imagine it would still be her. Like, it would still be Reze. It's just, like, what happens to fiends specifically? We have a guess. Like, as far as I can tell, a fiend is, as we said before, just a devil that has taken a human body. But we don't know that for 100%. And this could be a moment in which, like, this could be the arc in which we learn that. Especially since we've got the whole thing with Power, who drank too much blood. Like, maybe we'll get a cut of her, like, letting out some of the blood and her personality will change or something. Oh, God. Okay, so she's going all the way. Like, legitimately all the way. Oh, boy. God. This is the most Chainsaw Man 2 panels ever. I feel like I could say that about a panel in every single chapter of Chainsaw Man, but Jesus Christ, Denji. Have you no self-control? Don't do it, Denji. If I go, my heart will go with my body. I mean, and I do think that is a fair quandary of his, that he is this hormonal teenager. He is a dumbass, and he knows that. He's self-aware, but at the same time, he can't hold himself back in a lot of situations. Oh boy. She could be the nudity devil. Like, that would be such a cool idea, because honestly, a nudity devil would be pretty powerful. Like, even though I personally, like, I don't have a problem with being naked in front of, like, just my friends sometimes. Like, in a changing at high school situation or something. Like, I feel like I'm more comfortable with my body than a lot of other people. But even then, if I were naked in a supermarket, or naked at school, or naked just outside, I'd probably freak out. It's a pretty innate human fear. Or if not fear, then at the very least, uncomfortable situation. And depending on where you are in the world, the taboos against nakedness get stronger and stronger, and therefore the fear of being naked or being caught naked become stronger and stronger. So I can honestly see Nudity Devil being extremely powerful. Also, that might explain why she's been so not a devil for the longest time. If it turns out that she's in fact like by wearing clothing, she's like been suppressing her power, and now that she's gotten naked, she'll be able to reveal her true power or something. Well, clearly damaged. She has to keep the choker on because Denji needs to snap it. God, Denji, why are you like this? Okay. See, this face looks... I mean, not this face, that's her usual face, but, like, this body posture feels a little worrisome. It feels a little too giving. Oh my god. Is that digital? I mean, it doesn't look like a paint... Like, it doesn't look like a picture that was then, like, turned into manga art. But it looks way too, like, realistic for this art style. It looks really good, though. Whoa. And, like, in general, Chainsaw Man's Rain, we've seen Rain a couple times in the series. It's always so good. But I don't know if we've seen, like, Rain hitting a window very much. And that's also really good. Oh, wow. Man, I legitimately cannot wait for the anime, which may eventually happen. I don't know. But if it gets an anime, I would love to see this scene specifically. Because, like, the sound direction would be phenomenal if it's done correctly. I've always loved the sound of rain hitting water, like a big open like lake or river or occasionally the sea. With the sea, it doesn't really have the same effect, honestly, because the sea is just so big. Whereas, like, if it's a lake or a river, then generally it's encompassed by trees or by buildings and stuff. And so you get more of an echo. Ah. Wait, what? Okay. Is this just a, like, quick transition? Whoop. Okay, yeah, it is. Okay, so it's just both pairings having the same conversation, I think. That's a really interesting question, actually. Like, if we apply it to devils specifically, then like a country mouse or a devil/fiend that is just out in the country or out somewhere where it's relatively safe can occasionally just, kill the average human being. Just a random person here and there. Nothing special, but nothing too, dangerous. Whereas, like, if you get into an area that's actually protected by the government or by the Yakuza or something to that extent, then you're risking danger in exchange for more pleasure. Or perhaps you're risking it for that prime directive of all devils, to make humans suffer / to kill humans. Okay. And honestly, I can see that. Like, considering the life Denji has lived, he hasn't really had a situation in which he can imagine peace, which is something that comes up quite a bit when it comes to stories of refugees and the like. The idea that even if someone wants, an end to war, if someone wants peace, like a lot of the time, that person can't always like depict what they think peace is, because their life, like the way they view life, is formed by their life experiences, by the conflict and the war that they've lived through. In in that sense, I can't think that Denji I don't think Denji would be very happy if it was just paradise for him, because he wouldn't know how to fill that time. He would just spend most of his time, I assume, just sitting around doing nothing, as opposed to finding other hobbies, because he can't conceive of them. Okay. I mean, maybe this isn't going to be... I don't know. I'm still feeling pretty tense about it. But it's possible that this entire thing is going to be fine. And then next chapter is going to be the one where they go to the festival and something horrible will happen. And that would be a better place for a typhoon, actually. But then again, it's raining right now, so... It could also be, like, typhoon time. Okay, never mind. It's happening now. It's happening now. Uh... Oh no. Oh no. That said, this, like, his face is terrifying. Her expression is not that scared. Like, the last little bits, I think it was specifically, which expression was this? It was when they were talking, yeah, it was when they were talking about, like, his state of living. Like, there was actual concern in her face. So we know she's not a character who just does not ever show concern, which is, you know, a real possibility depending on the series. But she does not seem concerned here at all. So, like, that definitely raises some flags that maybe she's dangerous. Like, if this is a situation where, you know, most likely she wouldn't think that he has typhoon powers or anything. He's just a weirdo who's trying to stab him. And if she's, like, in league with the Gun Devil or something, you know, maybe she's going to just snap his neck and run away or something. Huh. Like, that face. I cannot get this expression out of my head, but I don't know what it means. All I can tell is that it is not the face of someone who is worried about being stabbed in her, like, in the hallway at school. It is 100% the face of someone who is going to do the stabbing. / someone who does not care about what she's looking at the moment. Honestly, I could see that as well. Like, the idea that she's just a criminal who is completely unconnected to devils at all, but she wants to grift Denji or something. Very possible. Because, like, it would explain the eyes, first and foremost. The fact that she does not have weird eyes is something I'm really fixating on. And it would be cool because, like, Denji's not the kind of person who cares that much about crime in general. Like, even if she came out clean and said, hey, I seduce guys and take their money, or I stab people in the woods or something, I don't think Denji would be that concerned by it, to be honest. Maybe she's the choker devil and she's going to choke him out. Damage, no! That said, like, if she is the choker devil, I do expect a snapped choker at some points. I do feel like, this mangaka, of all people, would be down on the sex memes. But yeah, I mean, I played, what was it? It was, Kiss, Marry, Kill, Fuck, Hug, I believe, with damage. And my responses, I think, are responses that I would 100% just, like, say here. Let's see what I say. It was, I would kill Power because I don't trust her to not stab me. And even though Damage later pointed out, like, you know, I assume these would all be consensual, I would also, like, I do think if I had a consensual kiss with Power or a consensual fuck with Power, I do think she would still try to kill me. Like, she's a bad person. I think she would definitely hurt me. There's Himeno, definitely not a kiss, probably a fuck. She looked extremely, like, down to fuck before. Whereas, like, with the other girls, like, Makima, I don't know. Her fuckability is an enigma. Reze is a child, like, she's very young. I would be quite concerned, like, just in general. And then, I don't know how to feel about Kobani. Again, like, if Power might, you know, attack me because that's what she does during sex, Kobani feels like the kind of person who would just slip out and run away during sex because she thinks that's what you're supposed to do. So, definitely hug Kobani, and then, what was it? Kiss from Akima, makes sense. Hug for Kobani, marry for Reze. Even with this chapter, like, yeah, I would still say marry. Like, she seems extremely competent, and she doesn't seem like the kind of person who would, like, tear your guts out. She is a bit concerning, but all the girls in the series are extremely concerning, so it's not like there's an obvious answer that I'm skipping because I want to marry her. It's like, no, she's probably the best choice in terms of a stable, long-term relationship. Reze is the snoo devil. I could see it. Like, she does seem like the kind of person, much like myself, honestly. I've had this exact moment of, like, looking at a dangerous situation or a dangerous life choice and saying, well, why do you want to go for this dangerous life choice? Like, why would you not choose the safe option? because like not because I want to convince the person I'm talking to choose the safe option, but because I just genuinely don't understand it. Like I'm relatively safe in terms of my choices in life. So it always fascinates me to think like, well, what is your arithmetic here? Like are you looking at it as you're taking a big risk, or is this a situation in which you aren't considering it slash like to you it isn't a big risk because of X or Y factors? Hmm. I mean, if anyone is the snoo snoo devil, I mean, again, probably Kobe. Not Kobani. Oh boy, that was bad. That was a bad choice. Maybe Himeno. Like of these girls, if I had to choose one to be the snoo snoo devil, because I don't know, the other four don't really radiate sex to me. I mean, Makima kind of does, but I don't know. Makima has this vibe of just a being that is a being that you should keep at arm's length. Like someone who I would be fine with like letting into my house because I don't think she would actively hurt me, but I would still have my guard up the entire time. There's something just deeply concerning about her as a person. Makima is the Ara Ara devil. I mean, in terms of Ara Ara devil, maybe a snake girl actually. No, she doesn't really have the mom energy that you need for a proper Ara Ara. Anyways, that's enough. That is far more than I probably should have said about this weird proposition. Let us move on, because we've got a lot more to do, and I never actually said that this was the Chainsaw Man segments. So, as always, let's move on to The Promised Neverland, Chapter 154. Wait, is it The Promised Neverland? Let me look at my thing. Yeah, it is. Huh. Is that how I usually do these? Like, I usually copy and paste these lists, then just change the chapter numbers. Huh. I don't know, it feels weird, but whatever. So, last time on The Promised Neverlands, we had the big impactful moments of Norman saying, "No, I've gone too far, I've committed genocide." And everyone else saying, "Well, sure, but that doesn't mean you can't stop now." So, he does in fact want to live, but I mean, the big problem is really just that he and all the other kids are, like, dying on the inside because of drugs. Maybe we are looking at One Piece. I mean, that's the theory. This could be the future of One Piece. Oh my gosh, and that cut. Whoops. Sorry, I didn't see anything there, but oh my god. Like, that hard cut from them as adults, or, as older children to them as younger children. Jeez. But right, because of the drugs, we don't have much time left. So, like, they don't really have an answer to that, because it's not a moral problem. It's just this is a physical problem that we can't deal with. Like, Emma doesn't really have something he can use, like, that she can use, that Norman can then use to get out of this. I mean, we've got Chapter 154, a breakthrough. Is it going to be that the promise she made, like, we know what the promise she made is, quote unquote, like, the whole send all the kids to the human world, then cut off the worlds? Did she include, like, something in there that would help this situation? Because, like, it is a big quandary. I talked a lot about this in my previous reactions. I'm not going to repeat myself, but yeah. Oh, and they didn't know, which makes sense because, like, he wanted to show himself as a god to them, so he lied. He said that he was completely fine, and they never caught on. Oh, my seizures have already advanced to level 4. But yeah, like, he needed that in that moment. If they were going to completely put their trust in him, he had to act as if he was infallible. But okay. So this is the truth. Like, and Emma and Ray already said, like, outright, hey, we've got a plan. We don't want everyone to die. And it's like, it's pretty rough, but at the same time, like, even if it's not perfect, I do think he can stop, and the devil world, or the demon world, can get back to some semblance of normalcy. Like, they don't need the aristocracy, it's just, I do think they probably should have something to, bring order to everything. It's just, what could that be? It can't be Gargablarg. It seems like Gargablarg is completely neutral. Like, he wouldn't step in to govern the devil, the demons. I keep on saying devils because we just finished Chainsaw Man. Oh, hey, Donuts. Uh, but no, I think it's been over a year since Gracefield because we had multiple time skips, right? Like, we had we had all the Goldie Pawns, then we had the big time skip when Emma was hurt. And then after that, we had Kavitadala. And then between Kavitadala and like the current arc, we had another time skip, right? Yeah, like it's been quite a bit. It's been like over one Tefari, I believe, since the last Tefari. But yeah, it has to be under 2 years. So maybe a year and a half? I mean, I'm just guessing right now. I don't have an actual like timeline up, and I don't want to look at one just in case there's spoilers for the rest of this chapter, but I think a year and a half makes sense. Like, it's specifically because of those 2 time skips, which were both like pretty sizable. And the second one, I remember specifically thinking like, oh, that's actually a lot that we skipped, and we're not really going back to it. That's super weird. But yeah, like, And this is a Tefari, too. Like, it can't be the second Tefari since they left, but it can't be the first Tefari since they left, because it's been... Maybe it has only been a year, then. Huh. I mean, I'm really happy that they are saying, like, yeah, let's do something about it, but what can they do? What is the answer? This is so perfect, because this is such a jump moment of, like, these characters deciding that they will 100% find a way out of it. But at the same time, I, as the reader, have no idea how that's physically possible. It's not a sense of there's overwhelming odds. It's the problem of just, first of all, they've already begun the genocide. Like, they've only set off a couple bombs, so it's not like they're wiping out all demons. But they have annihilated the governments, which is very worrisome. They've removed basically all the kids, so human meat's going to become, it's going to dry up super fast. And then on top of all of that, there's the big danger of, well, how are they going to save Norman? If saving Norman means keeping him alive, how are they going to do that? Because none of them know how to do that. God, Vincent is absolutely losing it. And I can understand it, because, like, again, like, Norman treated himself as a god. He was their great messiah, and now he's finally breaking down saying, guys, I screwed up. Let's not do it. God. Okay, I mean, I didn't expect them to be quite this reasonable. I honestly expected all of them to be more like Vincent in terms of their responses. But, I mean, I guess it comes down really to, oh boy, what is her name? To Barbara. Like, in order to tip the scales, because it seems like Zazi's pretty, like, loyal to Norman. Like, he's gonna go ahead with whatever Norman says to do. Oh, man. Oh, man. Okay, so she's down with it. Zazi's down with it. Vincent's still shitting his pants, but it's 3 against 1. Okay. Okay. Oh, what about Adam? So is he immune? That's also really cool, because I've never thought about that. Like, I've never considered it at all. But yeah, like, Adam was our first exposure to Lambda, or like to a subject of Lambda, as, like, with the whole thing on his chest and everything. And he hasn't been freaking out. So is it that he's found a cure, or is he just immune? Huh. God, that's also such a cool response, because I imagine there are probably guys out there saying, like, oh wow, what a shit writer. Kaiju Shirai is so awful. Why is Adam not dying of seizures every single day? But yeah. Oh, whoops, got a response. Right. But yeah. I mean, they could feed someone the body of aristocrats. Like, it should be fine. Even, like, theoretically, if Mujika was willing to do it, they could just feed someone Mujika's arm or something. Because, like, supposedly, once you get the evil blood, your blood becomes the evil blood and then it spreads. So, like, they could probably just bleed out a tiny bit of blood from Mujika to just a big boy demon, and then just have everyone eat that. It should be fine. As long as they have someone in the world with the evil blood can eventually spread to everyone. Wait, it was? Maybe it wasn't the Shabadoobie. Maybe it was the touch that was blocked out. But yeah, not even once after 2 years. Like, the Goldie Pond kids specifically would have noticed that at some points. Dude, are we saying that Adam is the final, like, hero of the series? Is Adam the one who gets to save all these kids, like, all of the Lambda kids? Not just these ones, but, like, you know, the horde of kids that were, you know, broken out of Lambda along with the important ones. Because if so, like, God, all hail Adam. Dude. Adam is William Minerva. I want I want that scene of Norman, like, up in the big pavilion with the hood on, like, just stretching out, you know, his whole Messiah thing with the giant group of kids. I want someone to do that, but to summon Adam, because Adam is the true Messiah. Jeez. And that's such a simple response, too. After I was freaking out over it for so long, like, no, that makes perfect sense. It's all using, like, one character, one plot points that was established, like, multiple years ago. God, that's fantastic. Okay. Oh, the bodies and blood of the royal family are all tainted. Shit, okay. So yeah, like, you would not be able to use that. I mean, maybe, like, depending on how the evil blood works, like, maybe a demon could eat the blood and then no, because the poison specifically attacks their ability to regenerate. So yeah. Plus, I was saying Mujika before, but Sonju also has the evil blood. Like, he also doesn't have to, like, hunt to maintain his human body or, like, his humanoid form. So even if Mujika giving up a tiny bit of blood would be a no-go, like, Sonju could still give up an arm. Sonju would be fine with that, I think. Wait, you're able to find evil-blooded? Wait, we didn't kill the evil-blooded! God damn it! We screwed up! Okay. Oh, jeez. And Vincent still does not seem like he's on board with this. Like, I don't think he's going to betray them. Vincent doesn't seem like that kind of character. But, like, he was about to say, you know, I alone will, like, you know, he acted like he was going to, so maybe, but I don't know. He doesn't seem like the type. It seems like in the moment he was, you know, he was passionate. He was overcome with his emotions. So in that moment, maybe he would have acted against Norman. But now that his head's cooling down a little bit, I think it's fine. I mean, I doubt Sonju would be fine with not being able to hunt humans. It's more just, like, why would he not, like, maybe for religious reasons, but I don't see a reason why he wouldn't want to, like, give his blood to everyone else. And as far as we know, again, with the promise that Emma specifically pointed out, there will still be humans in the demon worlds. She's just teleporting out the kids. But, like, all the other humans, theoretically, are still going to be in the world, and eventually they might have kids. There could still be humans in the demon worlds, and eventually, like, we could have the situation that Sonju wants. The situation in which humans aren't being farm-raised. They're just free, and then he gets to hunt them. Like, that's been his thing since the beginning. So, theoretically, as long as the promise is exactly what Emma said, then it'll be fine for him. Okay. Oh, jeez! Oh, fuck! Also, I think this might quash my theory I had last chapter. Like, the theory that the eyeball, like, you know, the weakness of every demon is literally the brain. Because I'm pretty sure her eyeball was I guess we can't tell. Is it still attached? Like, we saw specifically Zazie destroy something on her body, and everyone assumed that meant that she was dead. But we had a shot from far away, so I wasn't able to tell, like, did he stab her in, like, the brain, or did he stab her in the eyeball? I'm not seeing an eyeball attached at all, and, like, it was hanging out. So it should be very dangly and visible if it was, in fact, the eyeball. Which might imply that it is just, the eyeball signifies the part of the brain they need to hit. Or something to that extent. First of all, yes, very good jump scare. Secondarily, yeah, you're right. Like, there's no brain matter. I don't know. There's a bit of a blobby thing here. So maybe the brain is there. Like, not all of it, but some of it, perhaps. I'm calling eye titties right now. I could see it, though. Like, legitimately. I mean, when you said eye titties, my assumption was that you meant each of her breasts is a giant eyeball, which is horrifying. But I could see it more if it's like, like she tears open her, like, the top of her dress, and then there's like an eyeball right in the middle. Or if, like, she opens up her mouth and there's an eyeball, like, in her mouth. Maybe. No, because we've seen her mouth multiple times, actually. That's stupid. But the chest eye, maybe. Boop. This is not Devilman, so I hope not. Yeah. But yeah, definitely not in here. I really hope Norman's not dead, because I do want the series to end at the very least with Emma, Ray, and Norman in the human world. Like, after Emma says, alright, we did the thing, Gargabarg, beam us up. Like, even if Norman dies in the human world, I think that might still be a victory. Like, if it's still just that they give him the moment of, we've all made it, we're all in the human world, everyone is safe, and then he passes away like a few days later. It would, it'd be bittersweet, but I think that would make sense. That'd be fine given the constraints of the series. Could be Zazie. Especially since, actually, because Zazie looks, like, super similar to Norman, it's possible that, with her eyes annihilated, with her brain annihilated, if she were to jump into Zazie, she might not realize what she's doing. Or, like, she might, give up because she thinks, like, oh, yes, this is definitely the feeling of Norman's face in my mouth. Plus, like, if Zazie were to poison himself or herself, that would also help. I mean, I guess Zazie's probably a himself. Like, Zazie looks to be a clone of Norman. Huh. Overall, really, really good chapter. I am legitimately just shocked by the cleanness of that answer of, yeah, you forgot about Adam. Like, that's fine. We've got a solution. And then apart from that, everything else can wrap up relatively similarly, relatively cleanly, I think is what I'm trying to say. I'm not sure what the word I was trying to use was, but that's what I meant. Yeah, narratively speaking, I could see it as a, in his final moments, Norman did switch over. He did give the response of, all right, shut down the rest of the terrorism. We're going to, we're going to get the Atom Juice, and we're going to get everyone out without killing any more demons. This could be a moment of, Norman still committed a lot of sins, and so he needs to be killed. So having him die, by the mouth of Queen Lagravlama could, that could be a fitting end, quote unquote. / because he is the ultimate food, like, that would be Queen Lagravlama's final desire in life finally fulfilled. And depending on how good his brain is, depending on how incredibly nutritious the food is, maybe it's enough to regenerate her entire body. Who knows? Because, like, the demons, as far as we know, are, like, bacteria. Which means that even if they have brains, it's very possible that the brains are, like, they don't serve the same functions as actual brains. Like, maybe it's possible to regenerate the brain using the rest of the body and still have it be fine. Minus, whatever vital parts the eye protects. Or, the vital part that is signified by the eye. I don't know, like, I could see the flip-flop of, it's just a final death to Queen Lagravlama. Like, in the same way that her finally getting what she wanted could be pretty impactful. In the same way, having her, like, finally not get what she wanted. Having, I don't know how, like, if one of Norman's crew dies here, it would feel kind of like, it's not the greatest. Like, I could get why Zazie would do it. I wouldn't really want Sislo to die here. Everything else would feel kind of just, like, forced. It could also be, actually, it could be the first moment in which Emma shoots a gun and kills someone. And that could, like, I could see them doing that specifically because of Legravlama's state. Like, she's poisoned, her brain's been annihilated. Theoretically, you know, shooting her wouldn't be an actual killing, but it would be ambiguous. I like the theory because I'm not thinking of it in the sense of Ray jumping in and saving Norman. I'm imagining it as Queen Legravlama leaps over, doesn't kill Norman, and then Ray pulls out a gun and shoots himself in the head. But yeah, my theory is, oh boy, whoops. My theory, if I have to give one, which I do because I want to, is that Legravlama will attempt to attack, like she'll attempt to kill or to eat Norman, just in a base instinctual, like her body's moving on its own thing, and I don't think Norman will die. I think it'll be actually, I guess the other benefit of having someone like Zazie die here would be that, like, it would metaphorically be like, you know, punishing them for their sins. Like, they're not just going to zoop away to the human world after committing this genocide scot-free. And then it would also give us the moment of seeing someone who looks like Norman being killed in front of them. Maybe. I think... That's what I'm going with, but I'm not totally certain on it. Like, it is a very ambiguous moment. Which is good. I mean, I think Zazie sacrificing himself inherently has meaning. Like, I get your point of, I don't think it has to have meaning, but I think the very nature of that happening in the series will give it meaning. Like, it'll inherently have meaning. But anyways, that's The Promised Neverland. Much better chapter than last week. Like, wow. It's not that I disliked last week's chapter, it's just, I don't know, it hit a bunch of beats that I kind of already expected, whereas this was unexpected without being super lol random out of nowhere. It made a lot of internal sense. Did I like it more than Black Clover? I might have. I honestly might have. I don't think it was... I don't know. Like, it's on the same level as Actage. And I think, like, the fact that we had this big turnaround, that Norman's crew finally all, you know, decided that, hey, you know, we care about you more than we care about this revenge plan, except I think Vincent not being into it is what really, like, made me love it. Because, like, if they all just said, yeah, sure, it's fine, it would have bothered me. The fact that Vincent was, you know, that he embodied the fanatical side of the group, that he really did freak out, that for a moment he was about to betray Norman because he cared more about the ideal than about the human being. I think that really saves it for me, because, yeah, overall, I don't think he'll betray them. But it makes sense that in that moment, he would snap, he would freak out. And in that same way, I think because he did freak out, like, that probably helped calm down Sislo and Barbara. You know, in the same way that if you're in a big, like, group meeting and someone, like, starts screaming at the person who is, you know, who is the roadblock in this situation, usually you yourself don't want to scream anymore because you're like, yeah, all my feelings have already been said. Why would I want to say anything now? Like, yeah, it's out there. It's done. In the same way, like, I think he was the pressure valve. Oh, did I not rank Chainsaw Man? Oh, Jeezy, Jeezy Weezy, I did not rank Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man was fantastic. I remember talking about it. I just didn't actually copy and paste it. Chainsaw Man, definitely better than Black Clover. And then Promised Neverland, also definitely better. I think I'd say it's better than Actage this week. So we'll put it there. Chainsaw Man, not number one. Okay. I mean, I guess I would agree with the sense of, I don't think there's such a thing as a necessary death. Like, in any narrative situation, you can write it so that a character doesn't die and the same events unfolds. Like, even if it's that character just is not in the story for some other situation, you can always do it. There's no reason why a character ever 100% has to die. It can be more fitting at times, but I do agree with you in that sense. So that is the Promised Neverlands. Oh boy, let's actually try to do these chat breaks properly. Next is One Punch Man, chapter 103. All right, Tatsumaki. Love evolution. So last chapter, it seems like this fight's going to be the gay fights. Curious as to why Tatsumaki of all people is here. Like, if I had to have guessed who would be on the cover, I would have guessed probably a goofy cover involving Puri Puri Prisoner. Or if not him, then the guy with the hair who he's fighting right now. Strange place to put a Tatsumaki cover specifically. Also, what is Tatsumaki doing? I mean, I guess she's supposed to be in bed? I guess that's the case. Because, like, we're not really seeing a bed or anything in the area, but, like, those are kind of like covers, but they're really tall. But then again, she's really small, so I guess that makes sense. But then also, like, on the same elevation as her, or not even the same elevation, but like over here, Saitama's standing. So like, she can't be in a bed. She has to be like on the ground, but with covers. This is a strange cover with a lot of strange implications. Wait, who is Mark? Who's Mark? I kind of just glazed over that in the chat because I wasn't really thinking about it. But yeah, who is Mark? Oh, wait. Are you saying Mark from JoJo's? Because that because I wouldn't say that ties into what Zaku was saying of it'd be a cheap way to cause drama that just serves to drag out the plot. Anyways, what am I doing? Why are we talking about JoJo's? It's One Punch Man. Okay. I mean, what would be the necessary abilities that you would use to take out Puri Puri Prisoner? Like, Puri Puri Prisoner doesn't really have, like, elemental strengths and weaknesses. His main thing, as far as I can remember, and I could be wrong, is that he's just very strong. Like, he has a bunch of different techniques that he uses, but they're mostly like just martial arts techniques, even if he doesn't, call them martial arts. So I don't really know how you would defeat him besides sex appeal, like just having a cute boy for him to fight, or alternatively, just having a big, strong dude. Okay, you've used electricity, ultrasonic sound, freezing, heat, anesthetic gas, toxic liquid, parasitic eggs. I guess the question is actually like it's not that any of these would specifically be super effective on him, but rather that because he's just a big old strong bruiser, like he shouldn't have elemental like resistance. Like there's no reason why he should be immune to fire. Wait, what? Wait, what? I mean, I think that's just a... I was gonna call it a JoJo's pose, but not really. What is Saitama doing? Is his... where is his hands right now? It does look like he's pushing his hands into his crotch. Is he jerking off? What is happening? This picture has so many questions inherent in it. So, why is Saitama doing the pose? Why does it look like he's masturbating covertly? Why is Tatsumaki sitting on the ground with giant fluffy covers that go way above where her legs should be? Also, are her legs bent here? Actually, I can't tell. Like, I assume so, but like she's really bending her entire body over. It's real weird. What is happening? Oh boy. Well, as we all know, the sweater is what makes him strong, so if they destroy the sweater, maybe it'll help. Though the bigger question is, how in the world did the sweater then survive all of this? Like, we've seen Puri Puri Prisoner end up in, big situations where he gets hurt a lot and where his outfit gets destroyed. And that makes a lot of sense. I guess that one time he actually destroyed his own outfits. Like, he stripped it off. So never mind. But how is it that the sweater has survived? Like, is this a Silver Age Superman situation in which Furry Prisoner is projecting an invincibility aura, like just slightly above his skin, and therefore protects his clothes? Maybe not, because his clothing is being damaged, but it's not nearly as damaged as it really should be, considering all this junk that's happening. I mean, I don't think people stand like that unless they have massive dongs. I think the average person does not stand with their hips being thrust out like that. Like that. I don't know. I feel like the average standing position is either straight or with your what am I trying to say? Like your spine curved inwards, like you're slouching a bit. But like the hip thrust I think is legitimately really weird. You know exactly what I'm trying to say about donuts. Hmm. Wait, what? Uh, is this the trying to think of a character that absorbs other characters' powers? But is this that trope? Is this an elephant with the power to absorb everyone else's special abilities? Ooh, that is cool though. Like, oh, what's that god with the elephant trunk? But yeah, I guess that's supposed to be what he's going for. Hmm. Not my favorite design, by the way. Like, I like the sort of Cthulhu-esque tentacle noses. I think that does look pretty cool. But apart from that, it looks too, like, not like the Sea King specifically, but it has that general vibe of, like, the head fins, and then the big bulky body, and then, like, the tiny little crown thingy on top. Like, it's not that distinctive compared to other One Punch Man designs. Ganesha! Yes, yes, yes. Hmm. Okay. I have the ability to digest and use superpowers until I excrete them. That's a really interesting power. Because actually, that's actually surprisingly balanced. Because it means that as long as he doesn't poop them out, he has the abilities. But there is a time limit. Like, he can only keep them in his bowels for so long before he's gonna poop them out eventually. Like, you don't get into the classic problem of this character keeps on absorbing other people's powers and they keep on stacking and then they don't get rid of them, so they just are always going to be stronger and stronger forever. So, I mean, this guy's most likely going to die within this arc, so it's not like he has to stick around for much longer, but still. Like, that's a nice bit of attention to detail. It's also a funny concept. It's very shonen humor. This actually reminds me a lot of I don't want to throw out spoilers, but there's a certain character I'm thinking of who gains a suit of armor who that is that is his waifu, and because of that he gains strength not because the armor protects him, but because he protects the armor. So I think that's an interesting dynamic. The idea of someone who is powerful not because the sweater gives them strength, or because the sweater gives them strength, but in return they have to protect the sweater. Like, regardless of whether that's a literal strength or just, emotional strength, I think that's a neat dynamic. Especially considering that I do think of Puri Puri Prisoner as, the scary one that keeps on ripping off all of his outfits. If he ends up naked except for the sweater, that'd be pretty good. Especially since the sweater is long enough, like, not so long that it's going to cover his crotch, but I think, like, maybe if he stretches it out a bit, it might cover his genitals. Hmm. Before you go shooting your mouth off, you have to defeat an average adult male like me. I mean, I think that's fine. Like, if I knew what the One Piece was, and I said, I'm not going to say the series, but this thing, and then I explained exactly what the One Piece was, I don't think that would be a spoiler. That's just what the One Piece is, but without any context, you wouldn't know that it applies to One Piece. Hmm. I mean, is he? Is he trembling? Or is this sexual frustration? Like, hmm. Okay, maybe he just absorbed all the impacts then. Is that what we're trying to say? No, no, it seems like he's just vibrating. Oh boy. I mean, vibrational martial arts are definitely a favorite of mine. Within that genre of fictional martial arts, I do like vibrating abilities. Hmm. God damn, okay. I mean, I figured this was going to be a fight in which Puri Puri Prisoner. Actually, no, never mind, never mind. I was going to say, like, is this going to be one of those ones where he fights for a bit and then someone else shows up and then the elephant eats that person and gets stronger? But I forgot about the hair boy. Clearly, the point of this is that Puri Puri Prisoner has to fight the hair boy. So I guess that makes sense. Also, donuts. Like, I mean, that is the point. Like, if you like the concept, you're not going to know what it's from, and that's fine, I guess, because that's honestly something I hear all the time. Like, I'm fine with hearing about a concept that I think is super cool without knowing where it's from. Like, I would rather not know where it's from because I don't want to be spoiled. I know that does sound inherently stupid as I'm saying it out loud, but yeah. Like, I've heard lots of really cool things that I have no context for whatsoever, and I would prefer to have it be like that than to know where it's from. Like, I'm watching Lost right now, and if I've heard massive, massive Lost spoilers that are super cool ideas, then I'd rather just know the idea without knowing it's from Lost, because when it shows up in Lost, I'll have the moment of, oh, hey, cool, it's that idea. But I don't want to go into Lost knowing that that idea is going to show up. So I have had the reverse of I don't care about the series, but then I heard a spoiler from it, and now I want to check it out. So it really just comes down to my personal like comfort in this scenario. Like ultimately, I'll be less comfortable doing the stream if I say something that I know is a spoiler. Therefore, I'm not going to do it, even if it does dampen the experience for someone else. Like it is somewhat selfish, but at the same time, I would prefer doing that than not. Oh, okay. So I assume these are his boys, the ones he talks about every once in a while. Where I remember him specifically saying it the first time he debuted, and he talked about how he had to leave his cell to to do this, and he needed to go back to all of his boys and his boyfriends. So I guess they all got monsterized. Hmm. Oh, did he say honeys before? I guess he wouldn't have called him his boys. Hmm. I mean, that said, how is he getting out of this? Because he does have an emotional connection to them. Granted, I don't understand quite how connected it is, especially since it's been implied that he doesn't treat them very well, but at the same time, like, is he going to just murder them? Hmm. I'll never forgive you for punishing us with deep kisses. Jesus. I mean, that must be a lot of molestation if literally the history books, like if someone like John Wayne Gacy went to jail and then like all the history books just say, hey, this person killed some people, but most importantly, he got made out with a lot by Puri Puri Prisoner. Like that's pretty wild. Hmm. I do really, really like this oh, again, what is it called? uh, this separation in the reality of what Puri Puri Prisoner's life is like and what he perceives his life to be like. Like, I do appreciate that he completely rejects the idea that he's been molesting these guys and that they hate him. Also, I am like looking at chat, but I don't want to address it right now because like it is a topic I want to talk about more after this. Plus, One Punch Man's had like relatively short chapters as of late, so it's not going to take that long. I mean, I'm kind of on their side. Again, everything we've heard about his like living with his honeys has been it's been awful. Like, most of them don't appear to be gay at all. He's just been molesting them constantly. I want to slay him with intense hatred, but he doesn't get it. Oh boy, is this Nyan? Ah. Okay, it's been a while. It's been a hot minute since we've seen him do anything. Like, apart from those the shots of him just like being with the other like top tier boss villains or boss monsters. So, oh boy. Is that it? Is that Puri Puri prisoner taken out? Like, if we're comparing this to Bleach, is this the Bleach moment where Nyan seems to be in control and then Puri Puri prisoner pulls out his Bankai? Or is this the moment where Puri Puri prisoner is actually defeated and then some other random character shows up and starts like fighting him? I assume that prisoner is going to stand up and be strong because we still haven't seen him fight Hair Guy. And that does seem to be where we're going with this, right? He's got to fight Hair Guy. Oh yeah, the sweater's down. Or not down, but it's been torn and it's covered in blood now, so maybe this will be the final form. Is this actually going to be what awakens his Bankai? As far as I know, I can't remember whether Nyan had like just a random moment of him just, like beating up some random heroes, or if we've only ever seen just his character design. Like, One Punch Man has a lot of moments where it's an action scene, but it's not a fight. Like, it is legit, like, it's literally a fight in the sense that there's conflict. There is a physical person fighting another physical person, but it's not treated as a fight because it's just a moment of that person being defeated. There's so many of those that I can't really separate them from just a still shot of that character being on page. Like, I can't think of any of the other big generals. Maybe Gyoro, actually. Like, I know Gyoro's dealt with other monsters. I could not tell you whether he's ever had a moment in the manga, like fighting a human being or threatening another human being, like directly one-on-one with Gyoro's actual physical body being there. I don't believe so. But if there was a moment of him just like, grabbing someone's head and crushing it, or just like psychically throwing them against the wall, I would not be able to tell you. I mean, was he even in the Garo fight as like a fighter? I don't believe so. I'm pretty sure that was all just Orochi, right? Like, he talked to Garo, but I don't think he ever physically fought him. Although there was that moment where like Garo was up against a wall, but I don't remember if that was Orochi slamming him into the wall or if that was Gyoro like psychically holding him against the wall. Okay. I mean, again, this is a very like heart-pumping, heroic thing to say, but it's also Puri Puri prisoner. Like, I do feel like if we're going to end this with a gag, it's going to be the gag of him grabbing all of these monsters and throwing them in jail and then molesting them, which is not something I really want to see, to be honest. But the sentiment is quite great. It's just the existence of Puri Puri prisoner himself that I don't trust. Huh. I mean, is that the case? Has he evolved? They did destroy both his the sweater and also the like clothing underneath it, which is interesting. And with kicks, weirdly enough. Or no, that's not a kick. That's that might be a fire blast. It was a babam. So I think it was supposed to be like an explosion. I don't no. Did that guy do anything before? Like when he was introduced? I don't think so. He's just punching. Or like they're all just generally punching. But I think that might be a fire blast then. Have I grown angel wings? I mean, Who looks at their chest and then thinks, have I grown angel wings? I mean, I guess to be fair, the last time we saw him without a shirt, we didn't see any body hair, so I guess that is supposed to be canon. I guess he has, like, actually, never mind. Because again, this is Puri Prisoner. It's equally valid that maybe he just has not taken off his clothing for several months. Like, maybe he just has not looked at his body this entire time, and he grew out normal hair. There's also the possibility that he grew out the hair as a result of, an actual physical transformation, but I don't want to believe it. This feeling of revulsion. It's just like, oh my god! I never thought we'd get Nyan backstory. Also, this is confirming, actually. Again, I don't remember if we got this or not. I've really liked Nyan just because he's got a giant cat design. I don't think I knew that Nyan was actually a cat that had been monsterized. But that's a powerful backstory. It makes a lot of sense. And I do like it more than it being a character that is just someone who liked cats a lot and then became a cat, because it's, I don't know, it's too samey. I do like the idea of it being a cat that became a monster due to, I guess, sheer revulsion towards human beings. Also, interesting ability. I don't remember that from the webcomic. I mean, cats are basically fluid, as the meme goes. Okay, well... What's his plan? What's his grand idea? I'll coat my forearms with bristly armor and use vibration to increase my destructiveness, while drawing upon the swimming lessons of my youth. Oh no! Oh boy. Also, it's not even Angel Swim. It's just Angel Crawl. Like, he is just crawling through sheer rock. Jeez. I can understand that. This is terrifying. I mean, I'm 100% on Nyan's side. Leave him alone. No character in the entire series deserves to deal with Puri Prisoner. God, this never ends. Oh, crap. That was so fast, too. Okay, well, I guess they're all dead. Great. God damn. Also, that was actually a lot longer than 20 pages, right? Yeah, it's like 42 to 43, so 42 pages. That's pretty lengthy. Like, it's not old One Punch Man levels of long, but that is definitely, monthly series like levels of long. Huh. Okay, now that I've caught up to that, my feelings on the chapter are mixed. It was better than the average One Punch Man chapter. I did laugh. I do enjoy Puri Prisoner as a comedic character, and we did get Nyan focus, so I definitely liked it more than Black Clover this week, but I don't think it was up to the amount of pleasure I got from Chainsaw Man. So we'll put the two mans together. Okay, now what was going on in chats? Actually, I could just put it on screen instead of, never mind. You guys can see it on screen anyways, so it would be strange if I put it on screen for myself. Instead, I'll just read it from my phone. Okay, so I remember reading up to spoilers are scientifically proven to enhance your experience, which I do know. It's just, like, while it is a scientific thing, it's never proved true for me, or it's rarely ever proved true for me. It's proved true in in cases where it's been a very mild spoiler, like for Godzilla movies, for instance. I do enjoy getting to see what the monsters are kind of like before seeing the movie itself, because then it hypes me up, because now I know, like, okay, I can expect this general thing to happen. I don't want to know what the actual fight's like, but I am interested enough in knowing that character will be there. Same with, like, the MCU, for instance. I do like knowing which characters are going to be in X MCU movie, because then it makes me excited, because, like, okay, in addition to the obvious title character, like, hey, this character will show up. How will they interact with the other character? I do think that's cool. Hmm. I mean, yeah, I would rather someone read a series I like than not. I would disagree with that. In general, like, I don't enjoy it when someone is reading or watching a series that I like that they hate. I don't enjoy it because, like, I don't really want to defend a series most of the time because usually, like, if it's something where they fundamentally don't get it, and I think that by getting it they'll enjoy it more, then sure. But if it's something where they fundamentally don't enjoy the series, then I don't really want to say, like, hey, no, you should be enjoying it, or here's this explanation. It won't make you enjoy it anymore, but I'm gonna still explain it to you. Like, I don't get anything out of that. It doesn't make me happy, and I don't think it makes the other person happy at all. Apart from just the general enjoyment of having a discussion, which we could have with anything. Uh, I mean, yeah, I guess it does just come down to personal, like, your personal limits of what you like and don't like. Because I don't think I could actually say that X type of spoiler makes me not want to read a series, whereas Y type of spoiler does. Like, it's gradients. There have been times where I've known a character dies in this thing and I've wanted to read it, and there have been times where a character has died in X thing. And it's like, well, I just kind of wanted that character to be alive. Slash, I don't care about them. Slash, it didn't affect me. Yeah, I really can't put it into a category. Okay, Nyan doesn't exist in the webcomic. I'm pretty sure Straight Banana said that multiple times. I just have never, it's never stuck. Oh boy. Hmm. Donut does bring up an interesting point of, yeah, most of the sad deaths are ones I already know about because I know it's coming. I don't think so. Or, like, I don't want to say that as if I'm speaking for Donut. Like, no, 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 no. But for me personally, I think deaths definitely hit harder if I don't know they're coming. Because I can always have the feeling of, I can always reread a series. I can always have that moment of reinterpreting a chapter and re-feeling what it's like. But I can never have that initial feeling of I didn't know this was going to happen. Slash, I wasn't expecting this. Like, it's a different experience. I think that's it more so than spoilers inherently being bad. It's more that spoilers change the experience I have. And I can always have an experience that's closer to a spoiled experience by rereading a series. But I can never have, like, I can never go from having I can never reread a series and have an unspoiled experience with it. Even if I don't remember everything 100%, I tend to remember things well enough. Or, like, well enough to the point where, the series feels less fresh to me. I think that's really it, because I've definitely met a lot of people who can reread a series and have it be mostly fresh for them. And I've had that moment sometimes with occasional series. It's not like I've never had that. But for the most part, if I've been spoiled on something or if I reread something, I'll still have I'll have a shadow of that experience. It'll be enough for me to not be surprised by it. So even if I still enjoy the moment, I still won't have that surprise, because even if I can't say this will happen, the moment it happens, I remember, like, oh yeah, this did happen, didn't it? Instead of, oh my gosh, this happens. It's fundamentally different to me. Bold stance as a reactor. Experience something for the first time is overrated. I could see it. Like, I see what you're saying. It's just I fundamentally don't believe it because I've definitely just felt it multiple times. I've read a book more than once, and as a result, I've been able to compare the first time I read the book to the second time I read the book, and it's always been fundamentally different. Like, I would rather just have multiple different experiences, I guess. I suppose that's it. And in the same way, like, I'm enjoying reading One Punch Man, not remembering so much about the webcomic, because it is, like, the manga is such a different experience. And I didn't really absorb a lot of the webcomic for whatever reason. I think just because I binged it when I was in college. Hmm. I guess for me, it's not it's not a problem of, is it going to be distinctly better the first time or the second time, as much as I want them to be fundamentally different. Like, the idea of experiencing something a different way twice is more exciting to me and more interesting and more something I want than experiencing the same thing in two similar ways. Yeah. And I mean, like, yeah, like, reading a manga versus watching an anime versus like watching an anime in group being completely unspoiled versus watching an anime with a group and having future knowledge. I think those are all different experiences, and some of which may be better than others. Like, I've done a lot of rewatching series I've already read with, like with Saku, with Donuts, with a lot of people, and it has its own appeal. And I've definitely had moments where it's like, oh, watching this series with this person or rewatching it is really fun, but rewatching this series with this other person is awful. So I guess what it comes down to is I want enjoyable experiences, and I think that watching something for the first time, being completely unspoiled, is a unique experience that I can't get in any other situation, and I enjoy it a lot personally. Also, I guess specifically watching something for the first time without watching it with anyone else. That's also interesting in its own way, because by virtue of having someone else to bounce off of, it is fun. Like, I do enjoy live streaming. That's the reason why I'm live streaming this right now. But I think it does fundamentally change the experience in a way where, like, it is, I guess that's it. It's just changing it. It's not necessarily making it better or worse. And I do think for Shonen Jump, because Shonen manga is so, like, discussable, because it's the kind of thing where it's not, like, usually super impactful week to week, but there's a lot to talk about. I enjoy being able to talk about it in the moment. I enjoy how different that is, and I think it's honestly, like, on average, it's more fun than if I were to read it alone. So yeah. But yeah, it all comes down to personal preference. It's just that is my own personal preference. Hmm. Okay, we could talk about this for quite a while, especially because of Zaku's point there, which I think could lead into a long, long discussion of the various ways in which I enjoy watching the Monogatari series over and over again. But we should probably move on, because my throat is killing me. So, next is Dr. Stone, chapter 125. Okay. So, oh yeah, okay, I get it. I thought that this was, for some reason, I saw the line here, but it didn't register to me that it's power versus Medusa versus science. Like, it's a three-way fight. And speaking of, decisive three-dimensional battle. So is this going to be it? Like, are we getting it in this chapter specifically? I hope so. I really hope so, because we've been talking about it for quite a while, and I would like to see, like, it actually why do I keep saying fundamentally? I've said it before a lot today in ways that made sense, but now it's stuck in my mind as a thing I want to say. Like, it's hit the the autocorrect ratio in my mind now, where now when I'm saying things, it's jumping up as like, oh, you're saying a word that is, you're saying a word. Did you mean to say this thing that you've been saying over and over again? When no, it's not. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. Yes, it's fundamentally, absolutely something I want to say. Anyways. It feels weird to be calling her specifically Medusa, because she is, like, that is correct. She is the one with the power to turn people to stone. She's got the hair, it's fine. But she's not the final boss. So, like, but then again, I guess, it's really just making me feel like that because they named their ship the Perseus. Like, this is the crew of the Perseus versus Medusa. So it feels weird for it to be her when she's not necessarily a bad person. She's just kind of following orders from bad people. Okay, so they need the hoods. So this is, in fact, what I wanted before. We are going to get them being, like, stormtroopers. They're going to have, like, an evil look, the evil Empire design. Got the hoods, got the drone, need the wire, need the gun. Or I should say, need all four of those, not they have them. They do have the gun already. The wire, I guess they could just make. Okay, hood's pretty simple. Guess that makes sense. I think it'd be more impactful if they used, like, cloth that they made, like, silk or something, because it's something that's fundamentally not from the islands. But at the same time, like, It's probably a bit too much, and they're only going to see like strange hooded figures for a little bit. Like they probably don't need to invest that much time and energy into it. This is the peak Thermite stream experience. It really is. I mean, the peak experience is me talking about Kamen Rider across 3 different things that different people are watching. But going off on the long tangent is also very Thermite. Oh boy, right. These were the 3 that were trying to propose to her. Huh. I wish to elope with one of you, the strongest one. Perhaps with the one who can beat the drums hardest at the next festival. I I think what I really like about her isn't that she is the seductress of the group, but because her seduction, like, it's the combination of her seduction is usually really over the top, and also we get her mental image of her going like, "This is dumb. There's no way this is gonna work." Slash, we get to see how she puts effort into it, like how she makes herself blush. I think that's so much more interesting than a like calm, cool seductress character. Are you, yo? Are you really? I mean, he did hit the bottle, but I doubt it. I refuse to believe that he's going to hit someone properly. It's definitely going to be a situation in which he shoots, completely misses, and then someone like dodges into the bullet or something. There's no way. I refuse to believe that he's going to be a good shot. Hmm. Is it more weird to call her Medusa versus calling Senku Science? Hmm. I mean, I do agree, yes. Calling Senku Science is weird. Calling him Dr. Science would be the worst. Also, actually, you do bring up a good point. Senku uses science, she uses the Medusa. Like, if we're calling the device itself the Medusa, then it makes sense as the crew of the Perseus fighting the Medusa, embodied by her, but she, in fact, is not the Medusa. Good points. Huh. Oh, okay. That actually does make a lot of sense, because up until this point, I was very curious about how they would, like, I was imagining some sort of grabby device that they would use to grab the Medusa out of the air. But that does make a lot of sense, actually. If it's already on a thread, then they would just like tie it up and then grab it over. The big danger, though, is like I'm sure they could overpower her specifically. Like I don't think her physical arms are strong enough to overpower the power team. The big danger is whoever's going to be in the middle of this. I guess it also comes down to whether the device goes off or not. Because if the device goes off, then there won't be anyone in the middle. Like everyone in the middle will have turned to stone. But if it doesn't go off, then we might have someone in the middle, like I don't know, just any of the villagers. Honestly, if anyone were to just grab it out of the air right in the middle, that would be dangerous because then they would have it. Huh? Who would win, Medusa, science, or gun? That sounds like rock paper scissors. It would be let's go back to this. I guess it would be science beats Medusa, Medusa beats power, power beats science, which does not seem like the lesson that Dr. Stone has been trying to teach us. But if we take it the other way around, then it would be science beats power, power beats Medusa, Medusa beats science, which is a dark thing to say about the series as a whole. So either way, it's not good. I guess you could also frame it as the sheep and the wolves problem of if the science and the Medusa are on the same boat, then the Medusa will freeze the science. But if the power and the Medusa are on the boat, then the power will eat the Medusa. Okay. For a minute there, I was about to say, where's Taiju? But no, yeah, they already revived him, so why would he be in the shot? It's more, he's reviving the power team. Also, Crackless Nikki, the other two look just fine, as always. I mean, Magma looks like Magma, but you can't blame him for it. Oh my gosh. Also, so snappy, because of course, like, he looked around, his immediate assumption was, okay, if I'm being revived, Ginro would immediately jump on me, like he would give me the glomp. So if he's not glomping me, and he's not in the group of statues, then where is he? What happens? Ah. I mean, In terms of snoo snoo, the way we understand it, yes. I do think Nikki is the most snoo snoo. I mean, if we're going to expand it to everyone in Jump, I would say it would be Bisky from Hunter x Hunter. Like, big form Bisky. She is the ultimate in snoo snoo. Oh yeah! Was she that big before? Also, did the boys have that big chests? I mean, Magma I think he did, actually, but did Kinro look like this before? I assume so, because that's just how Boichi draws guys, but still. They are very big. And these are also quite large now that I'm looking at them. Jeez. Okay, so yeah, he's pulling himself back together. Kinro, your job is to lead the Hood Squad. Boy, if they bring the Hood Squad back to the village itself, which I really want, like not as mysterious foreigners, obviously, but like if they incorporate the Hoods into like the Night Watch or something, if that becomes a part of Ishigami Village's culture, I would be super into that. If like Kinro ended up in Ishigami Village as the leader of, you know, the Night Brigade or like the guards or something, and they all still had the hoods, and he was the leader of the Hood Squad, I'd be so into it. I really like that design, just from the one shot we had of it before. If we don't get a shot of all of them in the hoods with the katanas, I'm going to not be happy. At the very least with the hoods, but I want them with the katanas as well, just because they're so distinctive. I mean, I guess they're going to give him a spear specifically, but if everyone else had katanas and he had the spear, I think that'd be cool. I guess the danger actually is they wouldn't know what katanas are. Like, the reason why the katanas worked so well against the Tsukasa's empire was because they were from the future. Not the future, from the present time, from the pre-stone worlds. So they were able to see them and understand that, oh, that's dangerous. But these people are all, like, they might have stories, but probably not, because Ishigami Village did not have stories of katanas. So I guess spears would be the best way to show that they're dangerous. Like, in the same way that you wouldn't give them all guns, because no one on this island would understand that a gun is dangerous. Huh. Oop. Oh boy. Is Cialis the real Dr. Stone? That's not funny. I don't know why I think that's so funny. Ah, oh, we will achieve victory in battle. We will save everyone. And yeah, like, God. Okay, so we're seeing them from the back, which means we're most likely going to save the big moments for when they're actually up on the hill. And we did see before that that Moz has the Kingdom of Science logo on his shoulder now. So at the very least, anyone being attacked will remember that as the symbol of the invaders. Oh yeah, they're gonna need some strong thread, which they do have silk already, and silk is extremely strong. So I imagine they'll just make silk rope. That strikes from burning coal. Oh, are they making like not monofilament wire, but like the carbon wire, the name of which I don't remember. You get the ultimate lightweight unbreakable rope. It's the rebirth of carbon wire. Is it just called carbon wire? I thought there was a specific term for it, right? Or am I think I'm thinking of like the really difficult to make, like nearly indestructible carbon wire. But whereas this is like normal carbon wire. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, please help. I act as if I know Dr. Stone better than One Piece, but I don't. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay. Sure. Right. So how about we stick one of those fidget spinners right in the center of the drone, make it spin? I mean, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. I know there's a reason why we don't do that with actual drones in real life. But here, would that make sense? Ah, Senku! It's been so long since Chrome got to have one of those brilliant insights of, hey, here's an actual really smart idea. He hasn't really done that since the since he was locked up by the Tsukasa Empire, if I remember correctly. Like, he hasn't really had a big idea that Senku didn't think of, as far as I can recall. So, guess he still hasn't. Not for a while. Okay, yeah, so just this part is spinning. Which is also, though, it's something that we don't really do with drones. Is it just because modern drones have, like, better, like, onboard mechanical stabilization, so we don't need a big spinny thing? Or is there a different reason for that? A golden spear would finish the look. I would love it if Kinro just stopped and said, "I'll do it on one condition. I want the gold spear back." Although, to be fair, it's been a year. Like, have they not given him back the spear after, like, that entire 1 year time skip? Oh boy. I mean, even if our electronics are advanced enough, like, I've seen lots of tiny little drones, like small ones, like super cheap ones, in which I imagine, like, it would make more sense just for the sake of, cutting costs to have a big spinny boy in the middle. Like, if that would be more, like, cost efficient as opposed to doing onboard stuff. Though I guess the alternative might be that maybe having something on board that just makes all the propellers work at the same time is better, like, or it's cheaper than having a big spinny boy in the middle. It would make a lot of sense, actually, because I imagine the big spinny boy would use up a lot of energy, now that I think about it. Oh boy, what's this? I have no idea what that is. It's a potentiometer. Adjust the voltage. Oh, okay, I see. Like, I've been talking before about how they would need to move it around, but at this point, like, they'd never actually built a control thing into it. They've just had a switch for on and off. Like, they've had the radio. But now it can actually properly swerve. Oh, this is so cool. They've finally gotten into the, what era would this even be? Because, like, I'm thinking of, like, video games, like the Atari era, but honestly, like, I'm sure the actual, like, Air Force had stuff like this way before then. Oh, that's so cool. Like, it's that awesome combination of super low-tech slidey stuff around, and, I don't know, there's something really cool about having things be more physical, of having actual knobs and stuff. It's the reason why, like, on Star Trek, you have so many different panels everywhere in which people have to, like, slide their hands around instead of having everything be, like, voice-based or having people, like, use holograms and stuff, because it's not as cool. Also, because you need people to be near the panels, so when the panels explode, they get hurt, which is, the classic. We haven't had that in Dr. Stone yet, but give it time. When I was little, I received training to become a pro gamer. Okay, good to know. Good to know that that he's MLG approved. Huh. Magma's got an interesting look on his face, though. I mean, to be fair, he hasn't done very much at all. Like, they cracked him out. He's gonna be part of the power team. But maybe he's feeling a bit weak, or maybe he's feeling like, there's something he should be able to do here. Like, there's something else that he could be doing. He's not a very smart guy. He doesn't have a lot of, like, specialized information, so I don't know what else he could, but maybe he's seeing, like, a flaw or something. I'd actually be super into it if it turns out that, like, he's a better shot than Yo. I don't know how they would justify it, given, his life experience, but I think that would be really cool. Like, I would trust Magma with a gun more than I would trust Yo. Magma's had more of an arc, whereas Yo's been kind of the same this entire time. I guess that's the alternative, though. Like, it could be Magma wants the gun to do nefarious things with. But, like, given the whole thing with him and Senku in the caverns, like, I don't think he's fully on our side, quote unquote. But that plus the whole year, like, literally the fact that he spent a year in the Kingdom of Science, like, learning, like, properly trying to learn stuff and, like, hanging out with everyone. I don't think he's the most chill person in the world, but I think it'd be really out of character for him to betray everyone. Whereas, like, I do think Yo is more likely to betray everyone. Like, he does not that much more likely, honestly, because as the series said, he does want approval. He would want to be in everyone's good graces. But I could see him doing something big more so than I could see Magma doing something big. Yeah, I do agree with Donuts. It does feel more, and that's why I thought at the very start. It looked to me more like he just feels like he's being left out, / he wants to contribute, but he doesn't know how. All right, this goes down when the sun rises. We've gone through most of the chapter, so I don't think we're actually going to do it this chapter, but that's fine. Like, this was necessary. Oh, we're doing it, we're doing it! All right, all of our science equipment combined is going to take their Medusa. Get excited. Oh, and they look so cool. Oh, I love it. Especially because, like, like, the Kingdom of Science really hasn't worn a lot of black as of late. Like, generally their clothing is very white, very, like, you know, it's, like, leather hides and stuff, it seems like. Like, in contrast to the people on, like, the people on this island who tend to wear more fabric. So this, and that actually makes sense why they would steal it instead of using their own hides and stuff, because they would have very limited amounts. Whereas the village has more cloth, which is easier to work with. And, you know, it's not like they wouldn't want to use silk or anything because silk is a luxury, / I can't imagine they brought a lot of silk with them. I could see it. Like, I don't think Magma would die or anything, but I could see Magma, like, you know, stopping a spear strike or something. Like, risking his life to save Senku. Like, I think that would be a big, strong moment. Like, I can't do anything else, but I can do this at the very least. How is that? They did say, actually, like, they didn't really go into it, but they did say that Kaseki was going to, like, remake all the stuff for the lab. I don't think we saw him do it on screen, but I think that would be my assumption. That they took all those supplies, they made what they needed, but Kaseki probably jury-rigged the lab to make it work. That is pretty messy, though, I do agree. Like, they didn't actually say it, like, we didn't see him do it on screen. And it is shiny, that is true. Okay, so he does have the golden spear. And I do think this does look very dangerous. Like, in addition to not being able to see their faces, they've got this weird machine behind them that's slowly moving forward by its own power without the need of animals. And we have, you know, the big spears, plus one spear that looks so extremely different from all the others. Like, it is really good as a way to just show, like, hey, these are bad guys. Also the boob window, actually. The boob window, famously a way to show that someone's very dangerous. I mean, this is to show, of course, that Kinro, in fact, has a dream. I really don't want to see MLG Magma. Oh, that'd be so cool. Like, it'd be cool if Kinro becomes, like, the big hero here. Which I could see, because, like, he's definitely more clear-cut in terms of being, like, you know, a strong military force, being a strong guy, someone who is inspiring, as opposed to Senku, because, like, in Ishigami Village, it made more sense because they knew of him for longer. Whereas, like, this is a sudden invasion. Like, it's similar, but it's very different. Like, Senku's invasion was just walking into the village. And then his later invasion of the Tsukasa Empire was more of a military attack. Whereas this is more of a show of force as a distraction. Like, in general, I'm not a big fan of the fights in Dr. Stone. I would never say that the fights are what I'm looking forward to most of the time, because, you know, there's a lot of crazy lines going everywhere that I don't understand. But I am excited for this. I do want to see what this is going to be like. Like, just because, you know, we have so many different characters, and I want to see, you know, just the dynamics of a small group of invaders stopping a big group of citizens from acting due to, you know, societal pressure and due to, like, intimidation. Like, yeah, it's gonna be cool. Apart from that, I don't have any, like, hard theories as to what's gonna happen, just because it's Dr. Stone. Plus, Dr. Stone is a series where the general rule of, because we explained it, it's not gonna work, doesn't 100% apply. I'd say it, like, 50% applies. Usually when they say, like, hey, the science works, the science does in fact work. It's just there's something that comes up that's just throwing everything out of balance, and then they have to improvise something on the fly that ends up properly working. So I do think the plan's gonna kind of work out. It just comes down to whether they can stop Maz and Kirasame. / if there's something else. Like, if there is a second petrification device, that's the main thing that's really sticking out to my mind. Like, there may be a second one, because we had the whole logic thing where they said, like, hey, here's the reason why we don't think there's one, but they never disproved it. All they said essentially was, like, that they don't think there's one, but it's completely possible. And I do think of all the twists they could do, that would be a good one. Because it also means that potentially they could destroy one of them and then freak out over it and go like, oh no, we've destroyed it, now we'll never be able to save the world. And then someone pulls out a second one. And that's both a danger to the crew, but also their salvation going forward. Anyways, that is Dr. Stone. Let's rank it. Did I mess up anything else? I did rank One Punch Man, right? Yes, I did. So Dr. Stone was pretty good. Like, not an unbelievable chapter, but it was good, and I got everything I wanted out of it. Like, the whole gyroscope thing was interesting. It was something I didn't expect, but it does make everything make a little more sense. Now that we know, like, now that they fixed the wobbly thing, which I forgot was, like, a really big deal, but it was. And we got the big hoods. Really, all I wanted was the big hoods. I can't honestly say I liked it more than Actage, and I'd feel weird saying that it was better than Chainsaw Man, but I think it was. I do think I had more to say about this chapter than I did to say about Chainsaw Man. So, yeah. Like, it was two very different sorts of enjoyments. The Chainsaw Man chapter was definitely more emotional, it was more, like, human-based, but this hit all the boxes of a Dr. Stone chapter that I tend to get excited about. Alright, so that is Dr. Stone. Why did I put down my phone? Because it is time for My Hero Academia, chapter 246, Message. Okay, so what is this? What is this? No, actually, what is this? Wait a minute. I was saying what is this because I didn't I was I looked up here to see what the chapter title was, because usually I check here and then I checked at the bottom to see. I was trying not to look at the colors, so all I saw was this, and I thought this was Deku, but no, this is Deku. And he's got some like MLG gear on, which is interesting. What exactly is happening? See a straight banana. No, but here's the thing. Like, if it was Season 4 premiere art, I would imagine that we would see everyone in their Season 4 designs. And, like, I guess that would make sense with Spiral Girl. But, first of all, this is not what she usually wears. Second of all, they all, or at least these three seem to be wearing these, like, weird headphones. Oh, actually, is this a promo for the movie, maybe? See Zaku. Or wait, no, you're saying bye to, yeah, okay, never mind. The thing that makes you think this might be the movie is what's like the digivice that Deku has right here. In the previous movie, you know, tiny spoiler if you haven't seen the movie, but not really. Deku gets a like glove, I guess. They had a specific term for it that I was trying to bring up, but like it's a glove that helps him use his powers. And if they want this movie to like thematically tie into the previous one, maybe he'll get another glove that lets him use his powers more. That'd be really strange considering that, you know, in the series itself, he's already gotten a glove that lets him use his powers more. Plus it lets him use Air Force, which this one doesn't seem to be able to do. Like, this looks more like mesh than anything else. Unless it's going to be, hey, you know all those improvements you just made to your gauntlets already? Hey, I made a Digivice thing that does all of that but better. Also, here's some MLG earphones. The headphones and I guess the hoodies are the main thing that they all have, sure. But the headphones are real weird, especially Deku's, because they're so futuristic. Like, it's so over-the-top futuristic, too, and, like, it matches his backpack, it matches his Digivice. I do think these look really good. Like, it pops really well, and it's most likely just a, you know, just a color page for the sake of having a color page. Especially with all the, the TVs and, like, the monitors and stuff. Like, I guess it is to promote Season 4. It's specifically the technology on some of them that freaked me out. Because, that made me think that, you know, maybe there's a thing in the movie where, you know, some of them get these and some of them don't. Also, I'm feeling a bit sore because of my my big prediction last week with the My Hero or the Promised Neverland cover page, where I was like, "Oh yeah, of course they got the cover of Jump because Promised Neverland ran, the anime ran in theaters." And then it took me all the way until the author comments to realize that, oh yeah, there's a live action Promised Neverland. Maybe that's what that was for. Anyways, let's move on. Oh, one last thing. This is very P4. I guess mostly because of the TVs in the background, but it's given me a P4 vibe. I guess it's really just that though, because they're not really wearing school uniforms or anything. If he can take the headphones and like slide them down as like a visor or something, he'd be kind of Digimon-esque. Anyways. Oh no, they're still doing this. I'm really not a big fan of them using the color versions of these what are they again? The logos. If it's on a pure white page, it's not as bad as when they for a while, for a few weeks, they would put them on the black and white pages themselves. But it still bothers me because like there's nothing else here and the only thing I'm looking at is the other page. Like it's this weird splash of color that shouldn't be there. Okay. Right. You've come to embody absolute destruction. Last chapter, we had this weird line in which Toga says, what was it again? Destruction bomb for all, courtesy of Tomura. The classic line, destruction bomb for all, courtesy of Tomura. I'm legitimately considering whether he's going to change the name of his quirk to Destruction for All. Like, because it's evolved. I think that'd be dumb, but at the same time, I can't discount it. And I could see Horikoshi doing it in a way where it would feel cool. Ooh, boy! Oh no. I am not a fan of his new hair. His, I guess you would call it his liberated hair. Like, it looked like this in the previous chapter, like at the very end, and I was like, okay, sure, whatever. Interesting shots. But we're seeing it twice on the same page, implying that it's going to be a thing, which I'm not a big fan of. It's so white. Like, it's the fact that it's so white and there's no borders between individual clumps of hair. You just see, like, the shadows from where his hair is, like, falling over other parts of his hair. It looks so strange. Oh, yeah. His arm is, like, I didn't really notice it before, but yeah, it is being destroyed. It is a bit of a parallel to Deku, or, like, early Deku. Like, he's got an incredible boost, but now he needs to figure out how to control it. / it seems like he just wants more power. Okay. Huh. I can see it actually, yeah. Like, he does look more ethereal. Like, he looks almost like a fairy or something. Like, not a traditional fairy, but like a fae. Like, it's the combination of his emaciated body and how, like, the super white hair contrasts with his super textured face. Like, I still don't like it, but I'm coming around to, like, the aesthetics of it. And I do think it'd look a lot better in the anime, just because by virtue of being anime, it's going to have a little more shading to it. With each passing... Yeah, right. That's a good way of putting it, yeah. I mean, it's not like we have this right now in the human, like, in real life, but we have something similar in terms of our culture. Like, our culture is moving faster than our bodies, to the point where we're coming into things like veganism, like, uh, I don't want to make big sweeping quotes, but like, we're coming into social problems where it's like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. This is something that we should be doing, but on a primal level, we don't want to. / like, there are social things stopping us from doing it, but a lot of it comes down to physical, our physical limits. And if we try to do things like like replace food with Soylent or other such food replacement drinks, like, some people are doing pretty well on it. Other people find out that they have weird deficiencies that don't quite work out and they have to go off of them. Like, the hardware is definitely not keeping up with where we are in terms of a society. And this is a good way to illustrate it through quirks, which are just getting more complicated, more powerful, more everything with every passing generation. Like, I mean, how much longer until everyone ends up as a giant, big, and cancerous blob a la Akira? I call this concept the quirk singularity. Nobody except for All for One ever took it seriously. That's interesting because that's now being taught in schools. Or like it is a concept being put out in the world. Also, Destro's book talked about the quirk singularity as well. Like for those of you who didn't like actually sit down and try to read the pages, the pages that we were looking at that had the code embedded in them were also talking about the idea of like in every generation. Or in every generation in which the parent has a quirk and the child has a quirk, the child is usually able to defeat the parents, given it enough time and development of the physical body. That's interesting because like in that case, was that just a parallel thing, or did Destro get that from the good doctor, or did All for One like take that information and try to spread it through the underworlds? Is that perhaps how Destro came upon it? Like, I imagine he must be as old then as not the first quirk maybe, but he must be within that generation or so. Especially because, nobody except All for One ever took it seriously. It makes me feel like, it doesn't mean necessarily he had to be as old as All for One, but he has to be like, old enough that, All for One would have found him and then like been with him for most of his life. Yeah, it does. Like, especially the way he's saying it. Like, he's not saying it as if, this is something or this is something I heard about. I call this concept the quirk singularity. That does explain a lot, though. Like, that explains why he wanted to delve into Nomu technology. He's not doing it just because of All for One. He's doing it because, he wants to fix, the hardware problem. He wants human beings to be capable of not just taking on multiple quirks, but, oh my god, that means that the initial concept for the Nomu probably wasn't, let's create monsters that are a bunch of quirks mixed together, but rather, let's make human beings that can handle their own quirks if their own quirks are a bunch of quirks mixed together. That is brilliant! Incidentally, because in the last arc I kept on talking about X-Men, I would like to point out that this is not a concept that exists in the X-Men. Like, there are certain mutants that just suddenly have obscene amounts of power. But due to the way that mutant genetics work, the child of a mutant usually doesn't gain the power of their father or their mother or whatever. They can, like, it's a possibility. It does like improve the possibility of that happening, but it's not guaranteed. It's completely possible that you might be able to shoot eye beams and your child might be able to be psychic or something, or they might just take from one person and not the other or whatever. And it doesn't necessarily mean that children of mutants are stronger mutants. So this is actually it's such a cool concept. I'm sure other series have done it, but I do like how deeply into it My Hero is going. But yeah, also Zaku. I think the confusion there arose from the fact that I was talking about Destro's memoir, but Destro's memoir talks about like not the quirk singularity itself, but it describes the quirk singularity, which like Ujiko said specifically, nobody except All for One ever took it seriously, implying that Ujiko told it to All for One. All for One may have been the person who like spread it out / got more people to think about it, and then in my mind, at some point, Destro must have heard about this from Ujiko. And then either he was the one who carried out the experiments that he detailed in his memoir, or alternatively, like those experiments just happened, and then Destro heard about those experiments and then like wrote them down in his memoir. But either way, it seems like Ujiko was, the basis. He was the starts. For the next 4 months, you'll endure hellish agony. But if you can overcome it, you'll find that you'll have everything in the palm of your hand. Even one for all. One for all? See, as I was looking at that, I thought All for One, and that didn't surprise me very much, because my big theory has been that that Ujiko, not that Ujiko has All for One, not that he physically contains the quirk, but rather that before All for One went to jail, he gave his quirk to someone else, or he like put it in a box or something. He put it in a Nomu, because why would he want to have it in jail? Like, my theory is that, you know, at some point before he got locked up, he was able to somehow pass it on. Or even potentially that in the fight against All Might, he was using the dregs of All for One, as opposed to using the entire quirk itself. But even One for All, like, sorry if I said One for All before, I meant All for One. But yeah. Out of everything that All for One sought to possess, the one power that didn't behave as he saw fit. Yeah. I guess because this is supposed to be suffering Shigaraki. Like, this is liberated Shigaraki, but this is most likely going to be, you know, the monstrous Shigaraki. You know, like, maybe, like, that is interesting, though, because I do think, like, fitting with my Fae analogy, it would make a lot of sense if he had the wings and he also had the ethereal hair. I don't know quite how they could make this work. Also, yes, the Mothra Shigaraki to fight Mothra Deku. It's happening. But anyways, are we going to tie this back to the predecessors then? Like, this would then explain why it is that One for All at no point just tried to stab All Might with the sucky arrows and then drain his quirk from him. Which, in Kamino, like in the fight in Kamino, he did stab him with the sucky arrows, he just didn't take the quirk out of him. That would make a lot of sense if it turns out that One for All, like, and the existence of the predecessors is like a lethal poison to All for One. Like, if he were to absorb it, he would then also absorb the predecessors, and they would, like, overpower him. And that's why he, you know, never actually absorbed it from All Might. Because then, like, it seems like the series really wants to develop this idea of One for All, you know, being this, like, compacted quirk that not only has all of these, like, all this power compacted into it, but also has the predecessors' quirks and the predecessors' like memories and thoughts themselves all squished in there. That would make a lot of sense. Because, I mean, even the literal term All for One is, you know, like, it's all the quirks that he's stolen for a single human being himself. Or, you know, potentially for Shigaraki. I mean, I guess it's for Shigaraki either way, because his last name is Shigaraki. But, you know what I'm saying. If One for All maintains the, you know, the spirits of the people who used to have it, then that would run counter. In fact, perhaps if All for One were to absorb One for All, maybe the predecessors would have just, like, you know, jumped out of his body full of energy. Maybe they would have just, like, reformed themselves or something. Huh. Also, this is a big wild shot that I don't think is right or correct or anything. But what if, you know, the quirk that compacts power that he gave to his brother? What if the reason he removed it was specifically because it also, like, compacted the thoughts and feelings of the people he stole quirks from? Like, what if he did that not just to give his brother power, but specifically because he wanted to, he wanted to rid himself of some weakness? I think that'd be a really cool way of characterizing him, because then that would say that no, he didn't give that power, you know, he didn't give that quirk to his quirkless brother as a way to make his quirkless brother stronger in this new society in which everyone has to have a quirk. Rather, maybe he did it because he was just trying to cast away a weak part of himself, and his weak brother took that weak part of himself and, you know, turned it into what it is now, this ongoing torch being passed down through the generations. Okay. Ah, right. Yeah, because he's being taken away, like, he's running further and further away from the feather. Like, at some point, he's gonna have to just pull the feather out of the door and then, like, have it fall to the ground or have it, like, slither away somewhere. Okay, before then, we'll send signal. Um, boy, oh boy, I have not been more concerned with a smiley eye since, I don't know when I've been this concerned by it. That is terrifying. That is extremely concerning. Okay. I mean, okay in the sense that it seems like he's not going to attack him, but I don't know if he truly believes this. Okay. That is true, too. Like, even if Hawks is not actually on their side, the very idea of Hawks, you know, spreading the word might be dangerous. I mean, it depends on, like, how dangerous the book itself is. like, liberation ideology itself is not that dangerous. And I do think, like, it comes down to whether it includes, like, certain key phrases or dog whistles that might make people more inclined to become radical, which, based on the whole plan they have, implies that to be the case. Like, I assume the whole point of that is that they want to radicalize people over time. And even if only 1 in every 100 or every 1,000 people get radicalized, like, that's essentially the same as ISIS, posting dank memes on Facebook. Like, not a whole lot, it's not like millions of people are leaving the US to go join ISIS, but there are hundreds. Like, there's some level of effectiveness, and it seems like that's kind of what the MLA wants to do. Like, they want people in general to be more sympathetic towards the MLA cause, and I'm calling them the MLA just because, they're the ones with the ideology. Even if they're currently the, what was it, the supernatural bad boy front? Like, it is fundamentally MLA ideology, as opposed to MLA/League of Villains ideology. I guess I should just be calling it the liberation ideology. That makes more sense. But yeah, like, I wonder how conflicted Hawks might be with that, with the idea of, what if he gives that book to someone, and then he later sees that person, in the big crowd? Okay. Okay, yeah, it does look like he has doubts. Our students are backup in case it all goes south. Our insurance? Okay, so now that he's read it, he's playing it really close to the chest. Fair enough. I mean, it's not that I doubt the integrity of his organization, but I could see Endeavor really wanting these 3 specifically to be trained under him. Oh my god, that's so cool! That's actually a really cool point. Like, I was really confused by why Hawks swooped in and saved them, because I didn't think they really needed to be saved. But okay, it was specifically because of that. Even without me, they would have been fast enough. Like, I completely misinterpreted that. But yeah, so it was completely on purpose. He did it specifically so that, like, the entire organization would then think of them as all being weak because they had to be saved. I mean, the new name is bad. It just is. And I do think, like, now that I've had a little time to think over it, I do think it's intentionally bad. Like, specifically because Spinner was the one who, like, helped to create it. I think it's going to be a situation where eventually the League either, like, overthrows them and tries to destroy them, / maybe the Meta Liberation Army will, overthrow the League, / they might just, like, split forces. Did I? It's been a little bit. Not even that much of a bit. It's been like 24 hours since I did that reaction. I guess I just underestimated myself then. Sorry, I'm not used to having reactions, or to having theories that make sense. I'm really more used to having big, crazy reactions that don't actually lead to anything. Oh, dude. They're already strong, and they'll get stronger day by day. They're even faster than me. Oh, that's so cool! Oh, man. Damn it. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but tying into the spoiler talk we had a bit earlier, I did see this image before. Yeah, Donut had this, like, image of all of the different members of the, like, everyone in Class 1A and how they were partnered up with different pro heroes, and it definitely used, like, some of these panels. It's not that big of a deal, though. I mean, I guess tying into his point of, sometimes spoilers don't matter, like, none of this is a plot thing. It's fine. I knew that they were all connected. It's just this is my first time seeing this art specifically, which is fine. I had that instinctive moment of, oh, damn it. But yeah, it's whatever. This definitely won't go the way the villains are hoping. God. Oh my gosh, we're still going. This feels like it's supposed to be, like, I don't know where they would place it in a season. Like, would this be in Season 5? Maybe. I don't know. It depends on how, like, Season 4 is definitely going to be the whole Hasakai arc, and then between, Season 5 is going to be a lot of, like, just split up arcs, though. like I'm curious to think like would the anime team want to end the season with this? Like I don't know, because we're really just delving into the whole Endeavor thing. It makes way more sense to be put this in like season 6 as this like big reminder of, hey, here's where everyone is. Here's where all these characters are, even if we're not going to see them for the rest of the season. Huh. Ares horn, it's still getting bigger now. It's there's goo coming out of it. None of these shots really like make me think, hey, this is important. There is this tree that is interesting. It's a burnt up tree, which maybe maybe that's on the Endeavor Estates? If not, I can't really interpret that anywhere else. And everything else is basically just, hey, these are the groupings, which is cool. It does feel like build up to either a time skip, or I could see it being, like, not in the manga, weirdly enough, because, you know, the manga doesn't really show a lot of other characters very much. But I could see this being a, like, hey, let's see what some of these people are doing arc. And then in the anime, I imagine they'd probably do a filler episode or two that's like, hey, here's even more of the characters doing stuff. Okay, that makes sense, yeah. Because the Culture Festival does make, like, it makes thematic sense as a big, like, not a big finale, but a finale where it's like, okay, we did all the Haskai stuff, we're calming down, here is the salvation of Eri as a person. Like, here's how we're going to, like, make her not go buck wild. We're going to restore her faith in humanity. / here's some goofy fighting with, well, not goofy fighting, but, you know, like, here's a more low-stakes enemy to fight in the form of Gentle Criminal. And then it would make sense for season 5 to mostly be My Villain Academia / the arcs that came before it, because like we had a bunch of rapid fire small arcs there. It's just because they're so small, I can't remember how long they took. / like if it would make sense to pack them all into the same season as My Villain Academia, which I feel like has to be like definitely not like a full core, but it would take a while. We'll cut back in 4 months and Deku will be super buff. I mean, in this context, it'd be more like we cut back in 4 months and Deku has two new quirks. Because, like, we've already done the time skip where he gets buff. That was, like, episode 2 of the anime. Yeah, Class A versus Class B was really long, is the thing. And plus, with the anime, because they like fleshing things out, I could imagine them adding a lot of extra cuts and a lot of, like, extra focus on all of their individual plans. Just for the sake of, you know, playing around with these characters whose quirks we've rarely ever seen / in some cases never seen, like Takage. So we'll see. Actually, big wild guess. What if we do get a time skip and then they all look like this? By which I mean they just change their outfits and then some of them get new future technology. I mean, maybe these are made by Detronauts. I mean, none of them really seem suited to their specific quirks, as much as they're just kind of cool looking / they fit with their outfits. So never mind, probably not. What if this is a Detronaut Digivice? Anyways, we've gone on for far too long. That's My Hero Academia. Fantastic chapter. Like, lots of interesting stuff in it. Usually I'm not a big fan of jumpy chapters, but it really worked to sort of a, here's the conclusion of this mini arc thing. Yeah, that's really all I can say. Like, it felt very hopeful. It felt not conclusive, but it made me feel like, yeah, the villains have gotten stronger, things are looking bad, but we have to have faith in these kids. I could see it at this point. Like, the anime has been going for long enough that I imagine he probably does talk to the to the production team. He probably knows what they're planning to do for future seasons, like / you know, what they want to do, and therefore he probably writes things to try and fit in. Like, the anime tends to do a year's worth of chapters, roughly, vaguely. But, you know, with a year's worth unadapted so that they're never, like, too far ahead, / if they need to pull ahead a little bit, they can take a couple of extra chapters without, like, dipping too far. So I imagine, yeah, this definitely feels like both. It feels fitting for the volume itself. I assume this is going to be the end of a volume, because, like, it feels like volume end material. And then I could see it also being, like, a thing in the anime, for sure. Anyways, that's My Hero. I did not rank this, right? Yes, no, I didn't. Good chapter? I don't I don't think I fundamentally loved it as much as the Chainsaw Man chapter. I had a lot to say about it though. And like it's the eternal problem of Chainsaw Man makes me very happy and it has like this big punchy quality to it, but My Hero feels more substantial. It's the difference between how would I put this? If you've been to a McDonald's recently, they've been doing these burgers that are like these mini burgers. These I think they're called McTasters. That are like, you know, they have a taste from around the world. They're not actually from other venues, like from other countries, but they just have a general taste that is like, hey, this is the Thai one, this is the Mexican one. And I think that Chainsaw Man is more like a McTaster, whereas My Hero tends to be more like a quarter pounder, in the sense that there's generally more content in there. It's more dense, but it's not as interesting. Whereas Chainsaw Man tends to have a strong taste in every chapter. Whether or not you like the chapter very much, there's definitely the taste. Not to say that My Hero does not have tastes. Like, it most certainly does. There's definitely, like, special sauce in some of them. But they are distinctly different, and so I always find it difficult to try and rank the two as both series and as individual chapters. The damage. You know I never tell. Where is Momo? I think that's normal, actually. Or no, you mean that spread, right? Like the black and white spread. Was Momo here? Oh yeah, she is. Yeah, those are pretty big. Like, they are. I've been actually looking at a lot of art of, you know, potential future Momo designs, and I've gotta say, like, I've never been against her design, it's whatever, but I do think that, like, the boob window is real weird. Like, now that I've seen so many alternate designs that still show a lot of skin, slash, you know, like, they very clearly would allow her to make big things really easily, but they don't have this design, where it's more like just, like, here's a band around the boobs, and then, like, a band down here, and then, like, the midriff is exposed, and, like, it also shows off the entire back. Like, ever since I've been looking at alternate Momo designs, her current designs weirded me out so much. That said, I do like the cape. I wish more of them had capes. I know it's generally a bad idea, as The Incredibles / Edna Mode famously said, you know, no capes. But I feel like they're criminally underused. And I get why, you know, the fact that she has one, in part just because she shows that much skin and she needs to cover up sometimes. But I don't know. I definitely want to see, like, maybe Deku. No, actually, Deku would be bad. Maybe Bakugo. Maybe if we're going to end up going with King Explosion Murder at some point, you could have, like, a kingly cape. Yeah, Ares Horn definitely grew a vets. I mean, it's honestly quite possible. Also, I imagine there's probably less friction if it's allowed to breathe, which I don't really know about that, but I know that is a problem for some people. Anyways, that's My Hero. Did I rank it, or did I just talk about ranking it? I just talked about ranking it for like a minute. I think overall, I'm gonna put it above Chainsaw Man. Because yeah, like, we saw a lot. I enjoyed the art in this chapter more. Chainsaw Man was very punchy, but I don't think it quite stands up to the emotional weight of this. Even though I don't care that much about a lot of Class 1A and Class 1B, still, like, seeing everyone here and seeing what they represent, that they are the future, like, that was quite nice. So anyways, that is My Hero Academia. Let's jump on to those author comments. Oh, every single time. Author comments. I'm glad that Horikoshi still is, like, hype for the anime, that he's not just taking it as a thing that happens. Like, Yuki Tabata, who is a wonderful person, from everything I've heard from, like, people talking about him / his author comments, he never really talks about the anime, which I guess is fair. The anime, like, there are some really standout moments in the anime, but generally it's pretty low quality. It is the One Piece of, like, it as an anime is a lot like One Piece's anime, where like sometimes it's good, and the most, as of late, it's been pretty great in terms of like animation quality, but the pacing is not great, and it can be very rough at times. Meanwhile, Kotoharu Gotoge, yeah, I mean, Demon Slayer is an anime where I am grateful it exists. Let alone the mangaka. I think most people who watch anime are grateful for the existence of Demon Slayer. It was so good. Uh, do you happen to remember the name of Blackbeard's ship? Oh boy, no, I don't. To be fair, during the One Piece reaction, I forgot that I forgot that Full Lead was the island he was on. I thought it was a different pun. I knew it was a pun. But yeah. Also, I did. I should probably say right here, and I'll also say it during the big updates, boy. If you check my channel, I did do reactions for the previous 2 weeks. I didn't do them like as they came out because I was wait, what? Wheat Thicks? Okay, let's move on. I did, like, as of the last 24 hours, I put out the one for 929 and the one for 1006, and I will pull down the stream, but I will, like, put together the normal Shonen Jump, like, sometime either today or tomorrow. Oh, the name of the ship is Saber of Zebek. Oh my gosh. That is so cool. That is actually super cool. Dude. It actually ties into what I was saying before that, oh, the Dr. Stone chapter's still open. That Blackbeard seems to be like, whereas Luffy kind of incidentally rubs up upon history, and he does take things from civilizations, but he takes things from the way the civilization is now. Like, he helps them, he fixes things, and he takes things like, like the dials, or, he gets help, he gains allies. But he doesn't tend to take things that are historical, whereas Blackbeard seems extremely steeped in the history of the One Piece worlds. Which is great, because we also don't see that much of Blackbeard. So while he's, digging around and finding all this stuff, it's so separate from what Luffy's doing, even though they have very similar trajectories. It's super cool. One theory is that Blackbeard is Rox's son. I mean, I wouldn't be super into that, but at the same time, like, One Piece is very much a series about, like, lineages. And while I like Blackbeard because he seems like such a spanner in the works, I'd be disappointed if he was Rox's son, just because he seemed to come out of nowhere on the Whitebeard crew and then he pulled some big moves. I really like the idea of him just being this complete madman. I want him to be the Joker. But I do like the general concept of it. And in general, like, even regardless of whether he is or is not Rox's son, I do like him as potentially carrying on the legacy of Rox. By blood or by not, like, if he's still, the spirit, if he wants to be king of the world instead of being king of the pirates, I'd be super into that. Honestly, it'd be really cool if the reason why he thought that Luffy's dream of being king of the pirates was silly was, or not silly, but, like, if part of the point of his speech was specifically that he envisioned a world in which he was king of the worlds, and therefore the existence of the king of the pirates, while a dream, was not a realistic dream. Yeah. Like, again, I'm not super into lineages, but man, if that was the son of Rox versus the son of, the son of Gold Rogers / the son of Whitebeard, like, that adds a lineage thing on 2 separate levels. Oh, man. Okay, Has Haikyuu taken a lot of breaks recently? I mean, I don't read Haikyuu, so I wouldn't have noticed, I guess. But I do hope he's taking care of himself. It turns out that not falling while riding a bike isn't just thanks to the gyro effect. The handlebars are important too. I could imagine so. Like, the handlebars would be very useful for stabilizing yourself. Like, you can ride a unicycle entirely thanks to the gyro effects, but you generally don't ride a unicycle for as long as a bicycle, / you don't do it for the same, you don't do it at the same speed. I imagine actually, I guess the speed also helps you stabilize, though. I wonder if, like, riding a riding a unicycle fast is easier than riding a unicycle slow, like, based on the speed aspect / the gyro aspects. Man, I was just talking about the Black Clover anime and how Yuki Tabata never really says his thanks for it, but hey, I guess he is. This is pretty awesome, actually. Like, this seems to be the author comments of people being grateful for having anime. I never thought I'd feel this way. I really want to hang down from a wall bar. I want to stretch out. Ooh, speaking of being grateful for anime, season 2 of the anime is finally starting. I have not yet seen it. I know 2 episodes are out. I have both episodes. I just have not cracked it open yet. Really excited to see what the OP is like, because like I really liked the first OP. It was solid. It wasn't like amazing, but it was pretty good. My home and work studio is the same place. A 0-minute commute. I wake up and have work. It's great. I want to go far away. Big mood. Extremely big mood. Not a mood that I'm feeling right now, but I can feel the mood radiating from Hatsumune-sensei. There's something called cheese tea, which I would like to try someday. I wonder. Huh. I've never had this before. I've definitely been I'm into tea in general. I've probably seen this before, but we'll look into this later. It seems to be like not a brand new thing, and it also seems kind of cursed, but we'll see. Huh. Oh boy, Kentaro Fukuda is going into boy, what is his name? The Fujimoto well of, let's just talk about food. I don't have anything else to say. I mean, to call it the Fujimoto well is wrong. We've had a historic thing of author comments talking about food because the mangakas have nothing to talk about. Alright, well, that is the author comments, and that was Jump. Overall, fantastic week. Last week, or like during the last redirects, I put up the previous 2 weeks to try and compare which one was better overall, and I don't think I'll do it with this week because I didn't find it that interesting. / I kind of just stopped trying to do the comparison overall. But I think this was a pretty solid week. It seems like we really are just finding this equilibrium right now, in which Act Dodge is higher than it used to be because the current arc is really good. Everything else is kind of generally where it used to be. Like, these have all been moving up and down, and then Mitama and Yozakura family are just at the bottom. So we'll see how long Yozakura lasts. Even though Mitama's at the bottom a lot, it's not that I dislike it. I do really like it. It's just, it doesn't tend to stand up to the other series very well. Whereas Yozakura family, now that one's struggling for me. Thank you all so very much for coming and viewing the stream. I don't know when we're doing another one because I have work, and work is quite a drain on my time. / like literally on Mondays, I just am not here. So we'll see. There's always the possibility of me doing them on Sundays, but my Sundays are kind of like busy as well because then I'm doing all the things I've put off for the rest of the week. But I really want to do more because these streams are really fun. Yeah, thank you all so very much for watching. Bye for now. Yeah.